Alright, ladies and gentlemen, the Historical Gamer back once again. Hopefully this video is a little bit more entertaining than the last one was. It was just kind of a setup for this video. This is a further review of the game Tennis Elbow. Like I said, kind of in honor of Wimbledon. Currently going on right now. I've already created my character, John Roddick. It's 2010, and where to begin? Well, first of all, actually, let's play a match first. Now, I did mention doubles. You can go ahead and select a doubles partner by clicking. You click on this button here that says doubles partner, and you can choose. Well, it looks like I accidentally just chose my doubles partner. Okay, we'll look back at that in a moment. Okay, so we're going to go ahead, and the only tournament I think I can get into is the future level in Germany, the F1. If I try to go here, it tells me my ranking isn't high enough for qualifying, probably. I click on it. So it is not high enough. So then I click yes. The only one I'm high enough to qualify in is this futures event in Germany. So I go ahead and click on it. Here we are. You get this before every match. You can improve your skills. It gives you a summary of yourself. I'm a puncher. As far as style of play, there's a few different ones. I'll address those later. Shows you the draw here. It is bigger than what you see. Playing a wild card. So go ahead and play. You can change the difficulty before every match. I'm going to make it a little bit harder. Make it that. Playing a German. Here's a quick brief overview of the rules. Now if you hit the control button, that's one style of shot. The alt button's the other style of shot. And if you hold both down, then that's a new style of shot entirely. So there we go. First of all, you'll notice when you play, I have the target. So what that means is I can aim, and it'll show me where I'm aiming. So it'll show me where the shot's going to go. Now that circle means the ball will fall somewhere in there. I believe it always falls where there is that little kind of directional D-pad or cross pad or whatever you want to call it. The green arrows where it could fall. So if it's green, it means you got a good shot off. It means it's going to be pretty accurate. If you're on the move, you might be less accurate.
15, 14.
So it might be, might be more difficult, I guess, if you will, more risky. The bigger the circle is, the less accurate the shot may be. On serve now, you can hit the shoot button to begin the serve, hit it again to get some more power behind the serve. If you don't hit it, they will still serve it, but it'll just be a very inaccurate shot. You want to try and angle it. Obviously aces are good. You want to try and get it by them. I have noticed this game does not allow for a whole lot of aces. Unless you're really, really good, which I am not. Now, one thing is you also want to be ideally placed when they shoot. You don't want to be... This is something you don't see on harder difficulties. But you don't want to be in that red area where it is. So you'll notice every time I shoot and the ball comes back to me, there's kind of a square. That red area, if you're standing there, you're going to get a bad shot off. You might be taking it on the fly. If you get a yellow, you might have a chance to get it in. If you're in the green, you're in the perfect location for the best possible shot. And that will give you a better chance for these little aiming boxes, to hit it exactly where you want to hit it. The control button is the slice, so that's useful on some surfaces more than others. The other, what is it, the alt button? Jeez. The alt button is the just standard, I don't know if it's just like a forehand, just standard, top spin forehand. And then when you hold both down, it's a more powerful
advantage
return. So I'm facing break point. General rules of tennis, if you're not aware, is you alternate service games. So it's basically the first to 5 points win by 2. It's measured. The first point is 15. The second point is called 30. The third is 40, and then, 4 points wins a game.
Advantage service.
The fourth is game point. Now, if you both have 40 points and you score, you don't win the game, you get what's called advantage. You have to win by 2. If they score again after that, it goes to what's called deuce or 40-40 again, and you replay it basically at that point until somebody wins by 2.
Game
Traditionally,
player
it's
1.
easier to serve because you have that first shot. You're the one putting the opponent on their
Second
heels because they don't know exactly where that first shot is going to go. So it's typically much harder to break serve or to win your opponent's service game than it is to win your own.
Low
You
15.
have to win a set. You actually have to win in a traditional tennis match right now. The way it works is you have to win 2 out of 3 sets. So win 2 of the 3 sets. You have to win each game in a set by 2. You also have to win each set. You have to win by 2 games. So basically, one game. So 1-1, 2-2, 3-2. You have to win, 6-3, 6-4. You can win 7-5. If it's 6-6, then you go into a tiebreak. In which case it is the first to 7 points win by 2. Same rule, alternating shots. So you start with one person serving the first point, then the next person serves twice, then twice, then twice. And as I said, you have to win by 2 in the tiebreak. The only time there is not a tiebreak if you have the same number of games won in the set is when you are in a Grand Slam. Every Grand Slam except the United States Open or the U.S. Open will have you just keep playing games until one player breaks the other end and wins by 2 games.
Service.
So, for example, several years back in 2009, Andy Roddick played Roger Federer. Roddick won the first set, Federer won the second and third sets. The Grand Slams, as I said, are best of 5. So instead of being best of 3, it was best of 5. So Roddick won the first, Federer won the second and third, Roddick won the fourth. So they were all tied up at 2 sets apiece. They were in that 5th and final set. In the 5th set in the Grand Slam, except for the U.S. Open, is the only set that you do not have a tiebreaker if you're tied. So they just kept playing games, and I think it ended up being like 19 games for Federer to 17 games for Roddick before Federer finally broke Roddick for the first time in the match in that set. The other sets he had won in tiebreaks, but he never actually broken Roddick's serve over a full game. So yeah, I mean, one of the things in this game that is very important, especially later in this practice, right now the difficulty level is pretty easy, my skill level is very high, so this is a relatively simple, you'll notice most of these points I'm giving away, most of these points are my own mistakes.
Second service.
But the goal, obviously, is to get the ball in a place where your opponent can't play it. Getting them out of position is definitely important. Pushing them around the court is important. Fatigue does play a role in this game, although I have it set to just a single set. You can play best out of 3, you can play best out of 5 in Grand Slams. If you want, that'll be a much longer game. I will say one thing I have noticed at the higher difficulties is it's basically impossible. Wow, that was a nice shot. That barely clipped the back line. But it seems basically impossible to play a match. You either have it on either have it on a difficulty where it's relatively easy to get the ball by your opponent. They might get a couple of shots back, or they're going to get absolutely everything back. It's one of those games that I feel like struggles with that medium difficulty. It doesn't seem to have realistic results. You either win every single game, or you lose every single game, and maybe you win 1 or 2. But you never really seem to see, at least in my experience playing this game, and as I said, the difficulty level is really low right now, so you can't see it. You never seem to see realistic results, like 6-3, 3-6, 6-3, something like that. It always seems like your opponent is either demolished or you're demolished. And that's something that I think most sports games have trouble with, is having maybe they'll play one game better than the next. Maybe that would be a way to bring about a more realistic game, I don't know. But, you rarely lose, and then when you do lose, you always lose. But then when you figure it out, you never lose again. It's one of those things where you might have a realistic game or two somewhere over the course of like 100 hours of playing. And that is something that really does bug me about the AI in this game. You don't use many points, let alone games, especially sets. And it's hard to make a sports game where you don't have a realistic flow. You're not going to win every single tournament. That's ludicrous. You're also not going to win no matches if you're a good player, but the difficulty's set too high. And the game can do a better job of, covering, players being able to cover the entire court. I will say, part of it's just creating a more difficult game. But if you turn the difficulty all the way up, the opponent gets to absolutely everything. I mean, there's some other videos on here where I've seen of gameplay, and you can change the camera angle so it looks more like you're the actual player. But in some of the... I will say this real quick about the game. The game does a great job of kind of having realistic reactions to shots. So if you're running on the move and you swing your racket and you try and hit it, which, by the way, you will automatically swing your racket. You don't need to manually do that. You manually just do aiming. But as I was saying, if you're on the move and you don't get yourself set and you just kind of take a hack, you will see a lot of realistic results where you'll just dump it into the net. There's nothing you can do to stop it. Get a good wood on it and it'll drive it out. But as I was saying, the really high difficulty levels are frustrating from a tennis standpoint, in that you almost never see realistic results because you can't get any balls by your opponent. No matter how good you are, they're just too fast because the difficulty level is on max. And it's a way of preventing you from winning every single time. But, in the end, you just end up losing every single time. And it doesn't seem as realistic. On the lower levels, you can push a player around a court and get him out of position, but it's too easy. There really doesn't seem to be in this game a happy medium. You're either really bad and you lose, or you're really good and you win everything. And I wish, this isn't just toward this sports game. This is toward any sports game where you play out the results. There needs to be a lot of work on that. But that was, pardon my yawn. That was the gameplay you saw there. So I made the next level in qualifying. Let's take it back here. So we've got my character sheet. You'll notice I have 12 more experience than I had before. I had 60, now I have 72. I can use that to improve myself between matches. You can change the camera angle, what you see, where you are. And then there's this window, which is very interesting to me. There is a tournament, a news section, which will show the results of all the tournaments last week. So when this tournament ends, I can't see it anymore. Shoot. Okay, I don't really want to play this round. So we're just going to say my player is going to retire, because I want to look at this.
Game set match BR2.
So there we go, I retired, lost. Sorry, guys. Okay, so now you will see... it gives you a summary at the end of every week. So I won one match. It's a qualifying level, so I only won $25. Gives you a little summary of who went up, who went down. And then, you move from this week to this week. But that result... No tournaments completed last week. Oh, sorry, we were in the pre-week. Now we're in week 1. Qualifying occurs the week before the tournament, so there's been no tournaments yet. But last week, this is where the tournament results will come in. It'll have all the finals. So if you look at... Oh, no. Alright, the game crashed on me before, so sorry about that. That is one thing about this game I will say, is it's not the most stable of games that I've ever played, so that is a slight negative about the game. But here, as I was saying, it gives you the result of the last week. It gives you the result of who moves where in terms of rankings. You get a tournaments of the week, which gives you the draws of every single tournament. You can go from Germany F1, which may have actually been the only tournament this week, to look at all the draws. Ranking boards lets you see all the players, which, there's over 600. These are all real players. These are real names. So, you go all the way up the list, and look, there's Andy Roddick in 6th, like I believe he was in 2010, which is when this game is taking place. And, it's very deep, full of real, like I said, real life players. Carlos Moya, one of the great champions on clay. Shows your activity, so this lists your last, playing activity. Davis Cup. This game does include Davis Cup, so when you become ranked high enough in your nationality, you may be selected to play on the Davis Cup team. And that's something that I've only seen. I believe it was one of the bigger name tennis games. I don't think it was Virtua Tennis. I think it was Topspin had a game. Maybe it was Virtua Tennis where the Davis Cup was represented. But in those games, you only ever have one or two real characters, and that's kind of a frustrating thing. And then you can just click on here, and it'll show you all the tournament draws, everything you can try and submit to, get a little bit more summary. But it gives there's a nice little user interface back here to make you feel like you're part of something bigger than just tournament after tournament after tournament. And that's really necessary for a game like this, where you really just keep playing and playing and playing. But that was the gameplay. That's some of the other stuff behind this game. Like I said, I may turn this into a series. We'll see. I don't think it'll be terribly popular, but I wanted to do something on one of my many tennis games to basically just to recognize the fact that this week it is the championships, and next week it will be as well in Wimbledon, or in London at Wimbledon. Tennis is an incredibly historical game. You may not find it as the most entertaining sport. I would compare tennis to chess in a lot of ways. It's a very chess-like game. It's very, very taxing mentally, and it's every shot, every movement has a purpose. At least, for the top players. Maybe not for park players, but definitely for the top players. And we may have seen the popularity dip a bit in the United States, but still a pretty popular sport worldwide. Not number one anywhere, but definitely still an important sport. So anyway, that was Tennis Elbow 2011. If you like this, go ahead and like, rate, subscribe. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you want any more of these. Let me know what you think about the Tennis Elbow series, if you've played it, or if you like the look of it. And if you have any other questions, definitely give me a message, leave a comment. But yeah, like, rate, subscribe, and have a wonderful day.